Alright, you guys, so I'm here to hopefully clear up a little bit of confusion. Not so much confusion, but, I don't know, I guess put in some input. These 4 cubes I have right here are probably some of, if not the most popular speed cubes right now. There's the F2, the Alpha 5, modded with the high-end mod, the Dian Guhong, and the Dian Lun Hui. Now keep in mind I've had these 2 cubes for a long time, especially the F2. The F2 I've had for longer than the Guhong, but based on use, I've probably had the Guhong for longer than the F2. So I'm just going to give my input on which cubes I think are the best. I'm going to sort of do a little mini review on each of them individually. Starting with the F2. The F2 is really the only cube in this entire bunch with like a smooth, bubbly feel. It rarely pops, it rarely locks up. The only reason it will pop is when it locks up, and it has a very distinctive lockup. And it doesn't happen very often. After a lot of use, it can actually reverse corner cut about half a piece, which is really nice. However, and the speed is really nice, regular corner cut's great. However, the one bad thing about the F2 is that over time it starts to slow down. I mean, you can hardly tell from that, because it's still pretty fast. But it will eventually start to slow down on you, and eventually you'll have to get a new one. That is really the only bad thing about the F2, unless you don't like the smooth, bubbly feel. So, recap, reverse corner cutting is good after a while. Corner cuts are great. Rarely pops, rarely locks up. But wears out after a while. The Dian Guhong. I have had this for 4 months, maybe? I actually don't know. And one thing I really say I'm really impressed with is the stickers. Whatever. These are the original stickers that it came with, and I am extremely impressed by the quality. Not only are they good to touch, like they're not slippery or anything, they don't peel, they chip. And that's good because there's never that like little flap of sticker that that comes up, like, you know, on a store-bought brand. Like, that always happens. So that's always really good. Another thing about this cube, it's standard size. Same thing with the F2. If anything, the F2 is a little bit bigger. Corner cuts on the Guhong. They are absolutely ridiculous. Effortless. Reverse corner cuts can go up to just a little bit over half of a cubie. This is set pretty loose. It pops occasionally. It is getting worn out, and it's popping a lot more than my preference. Yeah, so after a while, this will start to wear out, as will other cubes, but this has lasted me a long time, and still is one of my favorite speed cubes. I'm trying to think what else is there. Lockups are minimal, if at all. If you do the 48-point edge mod, I just did it. It made it a little bit faster. It really isn't that much difference. But I'm going to say this right now. Breaking in is... I highly recommend it to modding at first. It wears away the plastic in such a way that eventually there will be a point where it can't be worn away anymore. And it will be that point where it will be just fast and everything. But with the 48-point edge mod or something like that, if you sand it or cut it or trim it down, any of those too much, that might have a big effect on it. So I definitely recommend trying to break it in before modding, unless you're highly confident in your modding skills. So, I would, unless you really, really like the feel of bubbly cubes, I would recommend the Guhong over the F2. Not saying the F2 is bad. Next is the Alpha 5. Now this came out around the same time as the F2 did, and a lot of people have varying opinions on it. It is an extremely light cube compared to like the Guhong or the Lun Hui, and the F2 actually. The internals actually don't differ that much from like a regular Rubik's brand. Obviously, there's the funny little parts like this, and that's what makes it so light, is all the hollowed out parts, and there's that little part, but that really doesn't differ it that much. But it has a great deal of differences from a Rubik's brand. It is extremely, and I mean extremely crispy. I've never felt anything like it. It's loud. That's one of the bad things about it. But is really, really fast. For some, it may be too fast. I like it. Corner cuts are about a full cubie. They don't go above and beyond like the Guhong does. Reverse corner cuts, I was actually sort of impressed. I wasn't expecting much. It goes to about there. It doesn't really do that much. I wasn't expecting much at all from it actually, but it's decent. Lockups happen a fair amount of time if you don't do the high-end corner mod. And it really doesn't take that much time at all. You can do it in like 15 minutes. And it's really simple. You could if you don't have sandpaper, you could just use a nail file, but use the less gritty side of the nail file. Otherwise, it'll make your cube really rough on the inside and not too good. Popping on this cube, it's minimal. I actually haven't had it pop on me yet, but I've felt moments where it would be about to pop. Lockups after you do the high-end mod, fairly unlikely. Not unlikely. They don't occur that much. Overall, I like this cube a little bit better than the F2, but not quite as much as my Guhong, just because I've had this for so long, and it's just really good. However, I could learn to like this cube. I mean, I've only had it for one day, so you never know. Last but not least is the Lun Hui. Now, this cube is probably the heaviest out of the four, and it's probably also the smallest. It's about the size of a Ling Yun, which is just a little bit smaller than the Guhong. It's hardly noticeable, but you can, yeah. You can hardly notice the difference when it's in your hand. I mean, there's really hardly any difference at all. The stickers don't have to be, it helps if they're the smaller kind. Just because if they're the larger kind, they take up a little bit too much of the cubie for some people to like. But these stickers are the same thing as these stickers, I think. They feel the same. Maybe these ones are a little bit smooth. I don't know. Maybe I've just worn that down. But another thing about the Lun Hui is that when I first got it, the edges around here were kind of pointy. So I took my nail file to it and sanded down all the pointy areas, and now it's not an issue. Out of these four cubes, this is probably the slowest, but it's a different kind of slow. It's a very controllable slow. I'm not sure clicky is really the right word, because it's not clicky, but you can feel like certain areas where it's like, I don't know, you can feel like a bump in air or something like that. But it's still a ridiculously good cube, nonetheless. And because of the internals, it doesn't pop at all. And that is really, really nice. Lockups are minimal. Corner cuts are about 1 cubie, maybe a little bit more. It's a little bit, just about as much as the Guhong. Reverse corner cuts. They have improved from the Guhong. They can reverse corner cut about 3/4 of a cubie. And that's really nice for inaccurate turners. Speed, again, it's not so good. Not that it's not good, but yeah, you get the point. So, overall, I'd probably go F2 from worst to my favorite, or my least favorite to my favorite, even though I love all of these cubes. F2, Lun Hui, Alpha 5, Guhong. Although, again, the Guhong is getting really worn down, so it'll be replaced soon enough anyway. The question is, will it be with the Alpha 5 or the Lun Hui? So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to message me, to post a comment, like, favorite, subscribe, tell your friends, whatever. Peace out.